Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful. When the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you gotta get some money. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Well, good morning, everybody. It is Monday, March 16th. And once again, we are opening up with the futures limit down at 25.55.50. 12,000 contracts sitting on the offer, trying to hold it down. Actually, a decent number of contracts have traded there, but does not look like they are ready to move anytime soon. Let's come into the charts here. Let me start the text to speech really quick. Okay, so you can see over here on my charts, ES is just flat because they are limit down. Come over here to this one. Here's the treasuries. Treasuries really took off. I actually bought it somewhere down in here. I'm actually thinking maybe we should get some more. Kind of liking it. Kind of liking it right here. But yeah, yes, they just went straight down and flat. Goodish. Hardly any volume too, by the way. Hardly any volume. In fact, I had a chart up here. Did I get rid of it? I must not have saved things. That's okay. We'll make a new one. We'll bring it over here, though. Spy down 10%? Wow. Oh, really? Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. Well, I'll show you. I'm going to show you. Hold your horses, folks. Don't jump to too many conclusions yet, because the move was suspect. Let's see. Gonna make a volumetric bar. 15 period base value, ticks per level 16. So we'll do 4 points so that we can read it a little bit better. And I want that little show as profile. There we go. You gotta have that. Otherwise, it's like impossible to even see what's going on. Okay. So if we come back here to the open. Come on. There we go. Now we can see it a little bit better. I don't know if you can see those numbers. Okay. Look, over 16 ticks. Across 16 ticks, there was not any one section that had more than 2,000 contracts traded at it. It is normal for it to trade 2,000 contracts at any one price during the regular session in the day. So this move, I'm sorry, it's so hard for you to see. There you go. Now you can see it. All right. So this move, down, it is a flash crash. That's all there is to it. It's a flash crash.
Gary Rich says, okay, let's talk others down from the ledge. It's not that bad. At least you have your health.
Thank you, Gary.
Says we're all going to die.
Well, so while we were messing around yesterday, I took a trade in the in the ZN. Pretty good, 137. I'm liking where it's at right here. I think I could probably get some more. What do you think? Oh, yeah. Right here. Okay. So, now on the other side, I got the treasury, or I got the ES, and I didn't really intend to be holding a position like that, but I'm going to say that because we made the mistake that we're just going to hold it and take the pain. And what we make in the treasury should cancel out here, right? No, probably not, actually. I don't know what to do about it. I think that if I had put my oh, I guess I wouldn't. Only 813 contracts traded in the micros. Yeah.
Gary Rich says I went shopping yesterday. Shelves bare, duh.
Yeah, I went shopping as well, and yeah, it was everything was bare, especially the Walmart. They were like furiously putting out all of their inventory, but there's not going to be any supply chain disruption. I really feel that all of the hoarding that's going around right now is pointless. You don't need to hoard, but you are probably going to have to spend more time at home, so I guess you do need to go and buy food. That could cause a short-term, decrease in supply, but I don't know. Everybody's just being crazy. Like this move, the thing that this move really bothers me. This one in particular, because okay, the Federal Reserve comes out, they cut interest rates, they're going to do $700 billion in liquidity. Like, that's good, that's really good. What else happened this weekend? Nothing. I don't know of anything else. I don't know about anything else. So, has the situation deteriorated at all? I don't think it has. Which says to me that this selling in the E-mini, in particular, is sentiment based. And since it was essentially a flash crash, high probability of retracing it, except for that they seem to have realized that it's really easy to just hold a ton of contracts on the offer and then push it down to negative 7% over the weekend. I'm wondering if maybe they need to change that rule. I think they should change that rule. Shouldn't be 7%. I think that on the open, if it's down 5%, that the 7% rule shouldn't trigger. It should have to trigger at 13% first. And that would give them a little bit less incentive to try and hold it down overnight.
Justin Carroll says so the preppers are wrong about the looting and robbing stuff.
Not unnecessary.
Gary Rich says I bought essentials, booze, condoms, ramen noodles. If the markets keep falling, I can make balloon animals. Single guys fun.
Well, you know what? There was ramen noodles at the Walmart. That was about the only thing they had left. Oh my gosh. That's going to be crazy. Hey, Masiak.
Masiak says hi.
Masiak. Does she say it correctly? Does she say it the way that you want it to be said? What we got on Twitter? New York Fed Empire Manufacturing Index March negative 21 versus an expected 4.4. I got an okay move up there in the treasuries. Oh, I caught it at 21. Ooh, that was so good. That trade was so good, guys. Am I not so great? Collapse is a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point. Wow, it's not going to be collapse, but there's definitely. I mean, the selling is sentiment-based, right? That's all there is to it.
Masiak says Seth nice trade on ZN.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't even necessarily have like a really good risk-reward spot. I kind of thought maybe they could go back down to 19, but I didn't want to miss it. That worked really well. See how high up there it gets. I don't want to. Well, I don't know. This kind of looks like a flag right now. But we'll see. Saudi Aramco CEO, we are currently assessing raising oil production capacity to 13 million barrels per day. What? Why would they raise their capacity? Don't they want to reduce their capacity so that the price of oil is... I guess if it's going to go down, it's going to go down, and they just need to pump so that they have inventory to sell. I don't know. That's interesting.
Гарри Рич Сей Суин The Deme Suin 2020. Comrade Trump will come home to mature Russia. Putin misses his favorite son.
David Felkay says because they produce for 8 bis 12 pro barrel or light adhere.
8 to 12 barrels. Okay. By the way, the 6J doesn't look too happy. It's moving up. That's good for a treasury trade. Oh, so I got a new toy. Let's look at the new toy. Oh, I don't think that it will look too good on this chart, though. So what happens at 9:30? We'll read that.
David Felkay says that what happens at 9:30 Uhr?
Okay, so first of all, at 9:25, they will halt the futures if we are still limit down. If we are still limit down at 9:25, they will halt the futures. The CME will then give guidance on where the open is going to be. At 9:30, the market will open as usual with the 7% limit down halt set. They are most likely going to head right for that 7% and then trigger the halt. Then we will wait 15 minutes, isn't it? 15 minutes, and they will start again. The 13% halt is, let's see if I have it. The U.S. equity market looks increasingly like the Bernie Madoff fund. It rallies even when others don't. Keeps grinding higher, small negligible drawdowns. And I'm not saying that because I'm short. It's just an observation. I don't know about that, guys. I'm telling you, it's interesting to me that even the most big name traders that I know out there are like hyper negative today. Okay, so the 7% limit is 25.01. The 13% limit is 23.39. 23.39. Let me mark that. I need like the scroll wheel sensitivity to be like 50. 23.39. Was it 23.39 even? Yes, it was. 13. And then 25.150. 7%. Okay. Oh, wait, I have a... Oh, that's my winner. Yeah, okay. I took that long. I don't think I want to be in it. I mean, but I feel like in all fairness, and since I got this amazing winner over here, I should keep the loser over here, right? I don't know.
Justin Carroll says I don't see us going minus 13% unless this is a Black Monday 1987 type of day.
There's just, I mean, if there's a real collapse in liquidity, then sure, but it looks to me like liquidity has improved, at least in the treasuries. It's better than it was last night. Still pretty shitty. We're still only putting hundreds up.
Uzi Knesset says the reaction to this stands an extremely high likelihood of killing off my household income.
Man, Uzi, so do you have like what would be required for you to be able to weather the storm until say May, mid-May? I think is kind of where we have to look towards. Mm-hmm.
Gary Rich says cash is king, long live the king.
Right? Cash. I think it's just so funny that well, it's not funny. Listen, it's not funny. But it is incredibly interesting that even traditional safe havens like gold and silver have not been doing too well in this environment. That tells you something. I think that tells you something.
Damian Asman says damn bro, this group is growing.
Well, yeah, thank you. We've been doing pretty good, for sure. Let's move this. It'll be like that. There we go. I'm not too happy with my camera position. It should be up a little bit, but whatever. We'll deal with it. We'll deal with it.
Uzi Knesset says Bill's wise, it'll be a massive hit. Pretty sure we can handle that. But we still have 25 employees who will all be annihilated to a degree we can't imagine because of this. No employees, no business.
Yeah, because going into somebody else's house and cleaning it. I mean, maybe we just need to rebrand as not we, you. Need to just rebrand as like a, we'll clean things. Did you guys see this picture? Uzi, this is what you need to do, man. Let me find the picture. Oh my gosh, this picture is so good. Oops. Oh, let me see if I can like show it like a full screen image in a new tab sort of a thing. This. See this? This is what you need to do, Uzi. There you go. You get your hazmat suits. Go get some hazmat suits. And here they're disinfecting the streets. But no, you get everybody hazmat suits and you say, we'll disinfect your house. Dude, you could make serious bank. With all the panic out there? I don't know. I'm not. I know it sounds like I'm trying to be funny. That's a serious idea. Serious idea for you. Maybe.
Uzi Knesset says Bill's wise, it'll be a massive hit. Pretty sure we can handle that. But we still have 25 employees who will all be annihilated to a degree we can't imagine because of this. No employees, no business. Uzi Knesset says there's been a mixed reaction from the customer base. We've had one of the hundreds we have specifically suspend services over this. Others have requested extra cleanings.
Extra cleanings, right? I want everything clean. Nah, just, get everybody in hazmat suits and, just tell them, hey, look, we don't know if there's what you got in here, so we need to protect ourselves, the hazmat suits, and it'd be good, good. You could brand it. You could brand it the right, a certain way. Maybe. This picture is so effing hilarious.
David Felkai says TBT breaking bit.
Oh, right.
Uzi Knesset says good luck finding a fucking hazmat suit. We can't even find paper towels.
Well, I tell you what, after this crisis, when things calm down, I am buying hazmat suits. I'm buying hazmat suits for the fam, and then, like a couple, because the price gouging laws are like, okay, you can't make it for more than 10% what you paid to get it, or 10% of what you were doing it before the national emergency was declared. So if there's another thing like this, I'll buy them all cheap, and then they're going to be putting them on Amazon for like $50 or whatever, and I'll resell them then at that point. Because at that point, what you're really doing is you're just I really don't this thing where like the national emergency has already been called, and then you go and you buy everything out. That is so effing wrong. Right? Like when we were talking about it before, it was like long before anything hit the fan, right? Now they've declared a national emergency and people are hoarding stuff. Guys, don't do it. I hope that none of y'all are doing it, but it's a natural human reaction is to hoard things, right? So it makes them feel safe, I guess. But wait.
David Felkai says I am long toilet paper short convert tickets.
Concert tickets. Yeah. Okay. There was a little bit of a sweep down there in the 10-year. They recovered it quickly, but what the hell? Kind of weird. Kind of weird. Oh, by the way, guys, I have links in the video description for Facebook links. I have a Facebook page, 2 Facebook groups. We don't really use the Facebook groups yet, but we're building it up, and hopefully someday that'll turn into something. Yeah, so if you want to interact with me on Facebook, follow the page. I get people requesting to just add me as a direct friend, which I'm flattered, but I already have too many people on that page, and I'm just keeping it to just family and friends now. So if you want to interact with me, follow the Facebook page. All right. If it breaks above 138, yes, but for now only range. Not sure we get something significant before the G7 call.
Jerry is awake says I had an odd conversation with a pizza place owner. He was told he had to close the doors, but he still could do deliveries. They just didn't want a bunch of people coming into the same environment.
Yeah, well, all of the places, so that's something that I've found interesting is they've been saying takeout only now. Many places have been going to takeout only. And I'm thinking like, oh, I need to like cook all my own food. But if I can just get takeout all the time, I do that all the time anyways, right? I was just reading Brannigan. Here, I'll read it for you guys. If there's one thing this virus hopefully instills a little more of in all of us, it's gratitude and appreciation for the most important things in life. Thanks, Tuzia86, for my surprise food package while I battle these markets. I don't know. I'm kind of concerned that the thing that people end up taking out of this whole thing is, I should have been more greedy. Like, I don't. Should have ordered more toilet paper at the beginning. I certainly know a lot of people on Facebook that were desperately searching for toilet paper. Z and Dom looking like MES today, having any luck trading it this morning? Yeah, let me show you. How do I Man, I'm just looking at this trade that I did in the ZN, and it went 28 ticks against me in the beginning. I'm like, what? I can't believe that I did that. Well, whatever. It worked out. Man. Oh, look at this. Now they're going. How we doing? Oh, by the way, now's a good time to go and hit that like button. I don't know. I think it's probably going to be quiet until the E-mini opens, guys. Well, I guess the treasuries are going. Ooh, I really like that. Really like that. Ooh, right there. Go, 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 go. Above 138. What was the high? It was, so 138.08 was what they had before. And what was the overnight high? Oh my, they got all the way up to almost 139. Really? Well, we can just hold it. I think I can just hold it. Yeah, Alligator says, look like pressure building enough to break up the upside. Long in sim since the Globex opened and you went to bed so you couldn't fiddle with the stop. That a boy said. Oh, no, I never... I should cancel this limit order down here. We're way past that. Seriously, I would never do what I did here in the treasuries live. There's no way, because the liquidity was so bad when I took it.
Gary Rich says I recommend watching Joe Rogan podcast with Michael Osterholm. It's very good.
Yeah. Look at that. Nice move up. It's like any kind of impulse right now in the treasuries makes it tick. That's so interesting.
Gary Rich says don't just say yeah. Watch it and you will learn something.
Hey, can you tell me who is Michael Osterholm?
Sebastian Marquez says nice
hi,
Seth,
Sebastian.
Good morning. Justin Carroll says the other S&P 500 ETFs down more than minus 11%. VU, IVV.
I have to Google them myself.
Justin Carroll says the other S&P 500 ETFs down more than minus 11%. VU, IVV. Gary
This
Rich
better
says
not be
Google
some
him.
conspiracy theory nonsense. American public health scientist and biosecurity infectious disease. Okay, cool. Maybe that'll be worth watching. I'm not like a huge fan of Joe Rogan, but maybe I'll go look up this guy. So do we got any other significant news this morning? I don't think we do. No. 9:30 bill auctions. So here's the thing. Well, it's not the top of the hour yet, but I haven't mentioned this and I should. Going into the close, I saw on Friday, I saw a lot of weird order flow. They were pumping it up and then they dumped it and then they really pumped it. And that kind of looked manipulated to me. And I kind of think that they wanted the markets to be going along while Donald Trump was having his press conference, and the market went along with it. And it was the most amazing rally I've ever seen in my life. And then here, just before the markets were to open on Sunday, the Federal Reserve announced their interest rate cut and additional liquidity. Now the equities decided to sell on that. I think the equities were planning on selling no matter what, but they sold on it. It looks to me like the government is trying to time their releases to try and give support to the market. And so if they had one at the close and they had one at the extended session open, I have to wonder if they maybe don't have a surprise ready for us just before the equities open. But who knows? But that's what I'm looking for. Oh, and also there's been a text message floating around, which the National Security Council has denied, claiming that there will be a lockdown, a national lockdown. The National Security Council has confirmed that that text message is false. People were saying that at 8:30 or something Eastern time that we would get news, or maybe it was 10:30. I don't know. I think it was 10:30. That there would be news about a national quarantine. National Security Council says that that's false. Yeah.
David Felkay says tinfoil.
Tinfoil. See, it's like any impulse, and then it just goes. Bitcoin not really finding a lot of support here. I'm wondering if they're going to go for another leg. It's possible. It's possible we could see another leg in Bitcoin. We'll be in this for many months, says Dr. Michael Osterholm. Osterholm. He's probably right. Like, I think that the economic damage is going to be primarily between now and May. You got to remember it's a short-term thing, but like in terms of like having to be careful and everything else like that, I think it's going to be a long time.
Justin Carroll says, I wonder, so we open minus 7%, then immediately drop to the minus 11% when it reopens if SPY stays like this?
Well, we'll probably open negative 7%, right? The next stop is at negative 13. It's really hard to get there. I don't think they'll do. And these stops really do, especially the halt in particular, has it really gets people out. So probably we'll see like what we did before where they'll push down and there'll be some sort of a reversal between 7 and 13.
Gary Rich says we will see a somewhat plaza accord by the central banks.
That could be. So you're saying that the next emergency action is going to be more information about what coordinated actions the central banks are going to be doing. That's
FK Zalra says hello, good morning.
That's not a bad call. It sure is moving a lot. The way the treasuries are moving right now are really something else. It's like somebody just sneezes and we'll go 8 ticks. Like we were up there at 02, right? That was only like a minute ago. I looked away. Now we're back down. Oh, did I say hello to you, FK? Do it again.
FK Zalra says hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. Hope you guys are all ready, because this open is going to be nutso. It's going to be nutso. OPEC calls off technical talks as a mediation attempts fail. RTRS, OPEC, and non-OPEC technical meeting planned for Wednesday has been called off as attempts to mediate between Saudi Arabia, Russia made no progress. Open Table reports restaurant dining has dropped 42% during the coronavirus. Yeah, it's about to drop 80%, buddy. Donald Trump tweeting, God bless the USA. Thanks. Thanks, Donnie. It helps.
David Felkay says, do you have Akku chat?
We do. So if you look in the video description. There is a Discord link, and in the Discord, we have rooms separated out by futures product. So we have an interest rates channel, an equity index channel, and a crude channel. And there's a lot of good traders in crude. So I don't follow the crude channel nearly as much as I do the equity indexes. I'm sure there's some really, really good oil traders and some really, really bad oil traders. I see Gary Rich saying the Dem debate was about as exciting as, sorry, I don't have a boring reference to, it was really boring. I have to say, I watched the debate yesterday. Let's talk about the debate, man. I watched the debate yesterday and I felt like it was the worst debate. It was by far the most boring debate that I had seen in the Democrat debates. And like the thing was, is both candidates were like amped up and like really going at each other. Like they were really, like Bernie in particular. Well, they both looked like they had taken stimulants beforehand or something. Like they were really going at it. But they were talking about the most pedantic stuff that like nobody cares about. Like they argued forever about, you know, whether Joe Biden supporting a bill that had some cuts to Medicare but had other stuff in it that he liked, if that was really him supporting cuts to Medicare. And I'm just like, who cares? Who cares? We all know that you're going to cut Medicare at some point. It's kind of unavoidable. I don't know. It's just like the whole thing was like so boring. And then like, but here's the other thing is that the Bernie Sanders supporters were all putting it out like, oh yeah, we're going to have the debate and Bernie Sanders is going to do so amazing. And then he's going to make this huge comeback victory. I don't see it. I really don't see it. I think that his campaign just died there because he did not have that moment. And frankly, I thought there were several moments there where Joe Biden was defending capitalism, let's say, against Bernie Sanders. And he really wasn't that great at it. And I still think that he just destroyed Sanders. There was especially the point that really stood out to me. Oh, I wish maybe we could go and find it, but I think they would take too long to go and find it. But basically, they were talking about Bernie Sanders' past praise of dictators and stuff. Like, oh, they had a good reading program. Like, they had high literacy rates. And Joe, he was speaking from the heart and from his own foreign policy experience when he was doing that, I think. But he was saying, hey, look, when you look at all these bad actors around the world, Russia and China and everything, the message that we do not be needing to send the message to them that, hey, the president likes Cuba's reading program. I felt, and when you look at Bernie Sanders' face there, it was like he knew that it was damaging and he really couldn't think of any comeback to it. And I don't think that Bernie was expecting it coming. He looked like a deer in the headlights to me. So yeah, that's my take on the Dem debate. I think that it was I think that was the last, that was the end of Bernie Sanders right there, folks. I think. Could be wrong. Could definitely be wrong, but I was not too impressed with him last night. Now that said, I really don't know if Joe Biden can beat Donald Trump. This whole thing with the coronavirus, the market seems to think that Joe Biden's chances of beating Trump are pretty good. I would not going to say pretty good, but like even now. Better than what they thought. I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see if his ratings really go down. We haven't really seen that in the polling yet. So.
Justin Carroll says, I think Black Monday 1987 was basically a computer glitch from program trading going haywire, but Buffett said it was a financial crisis.
It was a financial crisis. So, remember that 1987 was the savings and loans crisis. So they used to have these companies that would do savings and loans, which is kind of like a loan for your house. And these savings and loans operations were taking advantage of some regulations that the government had set in place. You'll note there always there's some regulation that the government has set up that's bad. Maybe business, encouraged the government to do those, but it's still the government puts a law in place that ends up creating an imbalance in the market. Now, here's the thing you got to remember. Every time that there is a crisis, there is a bailout. Always. Always, there is a bailout. But except for the 1987 crisis. And the reason, because the government basically owned all of those loans. Like the savings and loans companies were taking the loans out and making money on them, but they were from the government. So since the government owned them anyways, the government just took charge of all of those savings and loans companies, and that's how they resolved that crisis. And so because they were able to act so quickly, it ended up being a very, very short-term thing, right? You remember, and the takeaway that I get from this, at least, is that in the 2008 crisis, the reason the 2008 crisis went the way that it did was because they refused to intervene. The Federal Reserve didn't want to reduce interest rates. They didn't want to do the quantitative easing. They were in denial about what the issue was. And then when it came to a head, the public didn't want them to bail out the public companies. They did. Maybe they shouldn't have used taxpayer funds, and that still bothers me. I really think that it could have been funded privately. Okay, but there's always a bailout. There's always a bailout. And the sooner you act, the better. In this case with the coronavirus, I think that they acted appropriately. Like, I think that they intervened about as early as you could have realized that there was something was really worse than we thought. So, okay.
David Felkay says wait bailout in 95, 2001.
Okay, so in 1995, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but in 2001, there was emergency actions. Warren Buffett, in particular, bought a ton of stuff during that 2001 thing, and they closed the markets too, as well. Like that's another thing. But here's another great example. Is like the 1987 crash and the 2001 crash, both ended up being short-term impacts. And I say that coronavirus is a short-term impact. So it's going to be ugly. I still kind of think that we could have more lows in the ES. I think that what we're seeing right now is maybe a little bit sentiment-based overreaction. But I do think that we could see more in the coming weeks. I really don't see the equity markets making a significant recovery while we're basically during social distancing measures. You know what I mean? I really just don't see it. I think that it will just continue to be really volatile. The speed of the collapse of airlines is breathtaking. Italy plans to take over Alitalia. Is that? I don't know how you would even say that.
David Felkay says I guess there is always bailouts, intervention, good point.
Yeah. And the sooner the better. In 2008, if they had acted sooner, it might have been a small thing. Might have just been a regular run-of-the-mill recession.
Luis Alarid says revelers on Bourbon Street are told to go back to their hotels. Your actions are jeopardizing public health. New Orleans.
I've been seeing a lot of people complaining on social media that other people aren't taking the social distancing measures seriously. They're saying, hey, there's plenty of people, from what I could tell, at the stores and driving around on the roads. And I'm like, well, why are you driving around the roads? I'm locked down. I mean, I took a step outside, but that was it. That was it. We've been home all weekend. And the kids are here. I'm thinking tomorrow. I kind of thought, today, because 5% limit, like not the best day, but I'm thinking tomorrow I'm going to wake the boy up, the stepchild, force him to watch. Should be fun. I got a book for him to read. Going to make him read Mr. Make him read One Up on Wall Street. That's what we got for him. And for the girls, I've got, because they've been drawing. One of them is getting really good, actually. So I've got How to Draw on the Right Side of the Brain for her. I'll have my wife read it with her. And hopefully they'll do some nice drawings, maybe. Be cool. But yeah. How did I get off on that tangent?
Justin Carroll says so we might go down another 10% or something now that QE4 has started.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know, man. Like I think that the markets were planning on selling it regardless, and I just don't read this initial reaction as indicative of how successful the Fed's interventions are going to be, right? Because the interventions are happening no matter what, and the money hasn't even come into the market. You haven't even seen the impact. All you're seeing is that the traders aren't trying to front run it. They'd rather sell because of the sentiment. Fine, do it. That just gives the Fed better prices. I think that it would take months for us to determine how effective or ineffective the Federal Reserve's actions are going to be. You know?
Luis Alarid says gyms are closed in Los Angeles, joggers ruining rush hour. Luis Alarid says haha.
Oh, I missed the first part of there of Justin's message. He was saying that they started QE1 in November, and then the S&P bottomed in March. Okay, so this is a different thing. So this is the most perplexing issue for me. We had the big panic in October, and then in November and December, there was actually a pretty significant rise in the markets. And I remember that was when I started trading, and I was trading like, I was like managing a portfolio. And that was, I just put numbers in there and I doubled my portfolio from buying things there in October. And then things kind of turned around again, and I knew that like they were going to go lower. I don't know how I knew it. I don't know what it was that they were saying on the news and everything else at the time that made me think that we were going to have another dip and go lower. But when I look back on it now and I look at what people say, some of it is just like, oh, well, it was a recession and we're in a recession. But a lot of people feel that the actions that President Obama took when he became president were extremely damaging to the economy, and that those caused us to dip. And that it wasn't until all of his interventions were over, like cash for clunkers and all that sort of a stuff, that the market was really able to find a footing. So that one kind of depends on your view of markets. If you think that the market took another dip lower because of Obama, then you can't really read that the QE1 didn't work or whatever the deal is. Does that make sense, Justin? You're pointing out a good thing, that the markets can go down in spite of QE. And the QE that we remember was during a bull market. Like, it was a bull market, but it was a little bit weak and growth was a little bit low, and we were worried about turning back down, and we didn't want to have to deal with financial contagion because banks were still kind of weak. And so they pumped the system, and that worked really, really well. And trading at that time was so great. So
David Felkai says Justin, I think there could be way more downside this time around. Doubt this Fed action can stop it dead right here. We will see what the market think in 22 minutes. So what do you think, Zed?
Yeah, I like I said before, I have a hard time seeing the equity markets make a big recovery until social distancing measures are over. Because we don't know how long that's going to go on, and we don't know if we avoid the curve. That's the whole thing, is we got to avoid, we're flattening the curve so that we don't reach hospital capacity. I think that's a big, no way for us to know, because we really don't know how many cases there are out there. Maybe we flatten the curve so much and we completely avoid all that, and then everything's going to be great afterwards. But
Harlequin says German accent is awful.
I like it for David, you know. It's like always reminds me that he's German, and I got that voice. I picked it, and I like the voice. It's not nearly as great as that sexy German girl voice, though. Oh man, the German girl. I got to teach my wife how to speak in a German accent. I don't think she'd go for that. No, she'd be like, "That's too weird, Seth." Oh man, we're back above 138 again. We've rotated around 138 quite a bit here, though. I don't know. I tell you what, the treasury markets are just unusually volatile. They usually trend really well. But okay. Looks like Robinhood is down again this morning. Oh man.
David Felkai says BTW, if you don't mind my asking, how long have you been at the set?
Oh, okay. So so the reason that I got interested in markets was because I've always been political. Even in like junior high and high school, I remember arguing with people about the Iraq war. like that was like junior high. Well, ninth grade. Between being a freshman and a sophomore. And I was a missionary. And when I was a missionary, people talked about Mitt Romney a lot because everybody knew Mitt Romney was a U.S. politician, and they were like, they're saying that he's going to run for president. And I was like, and they told me everything that he did in the Olympics and everything, and that really, somebody doing a really competent job at something that really, that impresses me. So I really liked Mitt Romney. So I wanted Mitt Romney to be president, and I followed that primary election very, very, very closely. But then John McCain won, and I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. Was just like, I thought that this guy was done, and then he wasn't, and oh my gosh, I just couldn't believe that John McCain won. And then the financial crisis came, and I understood at that point the political ramifications, and I said, hey, this is going to be like a life-changing event. This is like a serious financial crisis, and I don't know anything about it. I don't know, how do you buy stocks? How does any of that work? And I thought that for the purposes of politics, because I felt like I was a person that was knowledgeable about politics and that was my thing, that I should be knowledgeable about markets. And I started getting into it, and I went and I got like some books and stuff like that. And I immediately realized, hey, you know what? Not only do I enjoy markets more than I enjoy politics, but there's more potential to help the world through markets than there is through politics. The things that the private sector can do can be so much more influential than what government can do. Government usually just screws things up. When you have the right people in private business trying to do the right thing for the American public, that is where you can get, really amazing things happen. And so I decided I was going to go into the finance sector. So I had been watching markets since 2008, but I didn't get into futures and like order flow. I had known about it, but I worked at Goldman Sachs. You can't trade futures. So it wasn't until I got let go from Goldman Sachs in 2016 that I started trading futures. And that's about when I started doing it, was around the time that Donald Trump got elected. So essentially, I've been doing it 3.5 years with order flow, right?
Harlequin says that's not a real German accent. This is like the kind of German
No,
portrayed
it
in
is
some
totally
kind of movie and series. For example, in this new Hunters series by Amazon. Always makes me cringe lol.
The way that it works is I'm literally taking the text-to-speech voice that they use to speak German, and if he put German words in, they would pronounce it like a German should. And then they're using those exact letterings and doing it in English. So if a German was to speak English, he would probably understand a little bit about the places that Germans screw up and the differences between them, and it wouldn't be as strong. But this is like the pure German accent that you hear in when they do it. He is pronouncing all of the words and letters the way that you'd pronounce them in German instead of English, but with English words. That's how it works. And oh yeah.
Bot says what happened to the normal robot voice.
So we set one up so that for David, because he's German, he wanted his voice to be different. So we set it up for it so that for him, he uses a different voice. He uses a different voice, but just for him.
Luis Alarid says have your wife dress like a German beer hostess.
Well, not just for him, but
Jerry is awake says sounds like Robin Hood could use a little bit of that QE help.
right.
Luis Alarid says all you have seen is a bull market.
David Felkai says you don't like mine accent.
I've never seen bear market order flow, that's for sure. But I did start in a bear market. I do remember I was watching the chart at least and the price movement in that 2008, and I remember what it was like, especially that drop in the February of 2009 where they dropped and when they turned around, and like I could see what was going on. So I have some experience with it, but I don't know what kind of order flow strategies you should be using in that time and stuff. No.
Live Action says speaking of German DAX down 7% last I looked expecting S to dump open. I am going long with some size in ZB. Damien Asman says I was looking for a bounce in CL.
David Felkai says no German, you stick it.
RJ Wheels says that voice won an Oscar for Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, so oil is falling again because OPEC is still not able to get along. So I wouldn't that trade. I understand where maybe there would be a bounce, but it looks like that trade failed. But I don't know anything about oil.
Ask Our Money Machine says why futures, why not stocks?
Yeah, so the thing that I learned early on was that, because I was using Thinkorswim. For stocks, Thinkorswim was like the ultimate sim. And I did that with individual companies and everything, but I very quickly realized that it was a lot easier to predict what the index was going to do than what individual stocks were going to do. And I always found it and like, oh, well, we're going to go up, but then the stocks that I thought were going to go up the most didn't, and it was always something else that I had never heard of before. And I wanted to do really short-term trading, like because everything that I had heard was, you want to take as many trades as you can so that you get the experience. So I realized that the index was better. And when I started looking at it, it was like, well, you can do SPYs or you can do the futures. And there's so many advantages to doing it in the futures. So when I was doing my sim trading, I would do it on ES. I was like swing trading ES. I don't think that those trades were very realistic because I did amazing. Like I made my portfolio, started with 100,000 and I got up to like 10 million or something like that. Like I don't think that you would have been able to do that in real life. Okay. And I thought that I was so great. And then when I actually started trading with like a real system, then you get humbled, right? Then, right? And it was like, yeah, that's what I thought. I'm not as good as my previous sim said I was. So that's why I started doing futures. And then I got into the order flow, right? Now that I've seen order flow, I kind of look back on my previous trading and it's like, dude, like it was all luck. You just got lucky. Because, like, honestly, they're just... How do you trade without seeing the volume? You're just basing it on sentiment and things that you might know about the individual companies. But to try and make money on, like, a 5-minute basis without being able to see the trades that everybody else is making, it's like... I don't see how you do it. Really don't. So... the White House is moving its coronavirus meeting or press conference to the same time as it was Friday. Will the result be the same? Asks Forex Live. Something from China. Lin Jingwei. One of the most interesting discussions in China's financial circles today. Some compared the Fed move to the relatively restrained policy actions by China's central bank so far. Don't expect another big Chinese stimulus to save the world, one says. And Forex Live says one of the most misunderstood events of this century is China's a gigantic 2008 to 2009 post-crisis stimulus. It was a major, major reason for the recovery. Yes, a very, very good point.
Gary Rich says one day, Seth, you'll come to trade options. You'll say, wow, that Gary guy was right.
Well, so when I was, during that time, I was doing Thinkorswim, which was options. So I also took options trades. Like I would play Apple. There was a couple of times where I said, oh, hey, the Apple announcement, I think it's going to be good. And the options are being priced really, really cheap. So I'm going to buy some calls. And I did that. And I even got into spreads. I would mostly do vertical spreads. I wasn't so much into the delta neutral strategies, although I think if I went back into that, I would. I totally like options. I just don't feel like that I have enough cash to be messing with options. I think that I would need to be, like in the tens of thousands to really feel comfortable trading options. And even then, it would take me a long time for me to test out my strategies and see that I've really got something, So, I don't have anything against options. I don't like options in terms of like if you want to take scalping. I don't think that you're scalp options, but as part of a larger portfolio strategy, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Reset this and there we go. Now I can see. Cool. Okay, so here's where they're gonna halt them. And then we're gonna come in and take a huge hit. I'm thinking what I should do is I should come in here and put a stop, and when it trades below here, yes, yeah, see what it does. We'll see what it does for kicks and giggles. All right. Paul Krugman, actual economic data is showing the COVID-19 effect just starting to roll in Empire State Index already in 2008-2009 crisis territory. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of.
Gary Rich says there is order flow with options as well. It's not expensive. They have some very sweet back testing software.
I know that you can get order flow. I'm more concerned about that. I just don't think that I'm going to get a fair price. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that on a 5-minute basis that I'm going to really get a fair price, or that I would understand what a fair price actually is. Like, I have a hard time understanding what a fair price is in futures, to be honest. So that's why I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do options, I think that I'd be doing them like a little bit more what's the word? A little bit higher time frame. Wouldn't be scalping them. I would be swinging them. Right? I'd be saying like today. Well, I guess it wouldn't really make sense today, but because there's just so much volatility. Options in this kind of an environment, I don't know how you do it, Gary, because I think there was somebody saying in Discord chat, the other Rich was saying that you take any kind of an option, the volatility is so high and the theta decay is so bad that you can't really get anything. Like, you could buy calls here and maybe you would eventually make money, but by that point the volatility would have taken away all your profits. Spreads.
FK Zalra says futures are like options without theta and better spreads. Adeptic says the game in options is time decay, unless you can predict the movement of the underlying.
Yeah.
Gary Rich says at Live all the books are free.
Yeah, and I've read some option books, and when I was at Goldman Sachs, I took some of their option courses. So I understand the strategies and how to set them up, and I've done a lot of, strategy analyzing we've done it here on stream before, in fact, through Think or Swim, set up potential trades and looked at where they could potentially go and everything. Not sim trading it, but it always comes out to that even if you're trading the smallest size that you could on these options, I'd still need a couple $1,000s to really do it. And who knows how much money I would burn through while I was figuring it out. So I think that I'm much more likely to, maybe go into spreads at some point and swing spreads and then expand into options. And I would really like to do strategies where I have some sort of an option spread hedged with futures. I'd like to be able to use futures to hedge and see that side of it. But probably not anytime soon. That's probably a couple of years down the line. And probably because, I do have a little bit of cash to use. I think I'm going to spend a bunch of it on some weightlifting equipment, especially now that I'm I don't really want to go all the way down to my gym right now. So we'll see. But I should have plenty left over after that. And I think that with that the prudent thing with that one is to put it into stocks. Or maybe Bitcoin gives me a good buy here too. I'm really nervous about the Bitcoin one because they're getting close to my buy. They're not there yet. I really think that it's going to be between 1 and 3K. But I think that they should probably do what everything else. When the recovery starts, it could be very sharp and it could happen before the election. But in the meantime, it's going to be incredibly disappointing, let's say.
Damien Asman says we all are just fuck hard but with love.
Yeah, totally.
RJ Wheels says this has to go down. There's no good news.
Well, it's just I think that they've kind of gotten into the thing where it's if it's 5% down, then it's going to open up 7% down and then it's going to reverse. And the traders have all kind of just accepted that that's the way that it is. Because nobody even tried to bump it up last night. Last Monday, they stopped him out several times. But this Monday, nope. Didn't work. Okay, so there's the open. And they immediately went to the -7. Oh my gosh. Nobody even putting up any liquidity. Holy shiznit. Okay, so the sim gave me a price that I obviously never would have been able to have gotten. Right? It basically said that it sold all for at 550 and took $100 loss on the first one. Does it even see? Well, now that's interesting because this doesn't even see the other position. This one, it says that it's closed, but it's not showing me where must need a tick first. It actually, where did it get out at? Oh, it doesn't say. I have to go and calculate it. That's funny. Instant halt. Yep.
David Felkai says, do you lift?
Yep. I lift. I do Olympic lifts like snatch and clean and jerk.
FK Zalra says how many contracts traded from open to limit?
Okay, that's a good question. And we can see that. Where is it? Right here. 831 sold. And that was it. Oh, no, wait. That's on the buy side. Well, that don't make any sense. That don't make no sense. 831 bought 2501.50. And that was it. So they just offered it down and no volume actually traded. Okay, well, at 2501, oh, will it let me get out? No. Auto. Can I market order into it? What it's showing me here on this chart, I mean, it got halted, so. Alright, whatever. We'll just let it go. Only 831 traded.
Damien Asman says my short went well with CL.
Oh, you went short in CL? Oh, it's
Air Cages says hello. Air Cages says how's the market doing today?
just terrible. So when we opened the overnight session, we were down. We opened, immediately halted, and now they opened the regular session, immediately halted. Now we're going to go after the 7% and see how far it goes. Would have been interesting to have done that on a live account to see what if I had sold on a live account in the micro futures, if it even would have let me. I don't think it would even let me. Okay. All trading halted for 15 minutes.
Air Cages says more viewers than usual for sure.
Yeah. Well, what do we got right now? 48. Wow, guys. You know what? Every time I come back and I look at that, because we're like 30, I'm always like, wow. Thank you so much. I hope that this is useful to you. And I just want to reiterate, if you're new, even though there's 50 people here, we're a really small room and I have the ability to give all of you time. So if you have a question, put it in the chat. If I don't see it or I don't adequately answer the question, just put it in again. So I want to, if you're here, I think it's because, and you're new, it's because you probably don't know anything about futures and you want to know what you're looking at. So please ask the questions. And you can get on Discord and ask me questions too. That's totally cool as well.
Gary Rich says the Aussie dollar is getting close for me to go long. Been waiting for 10 years for this trade.
Man. Okay, so
Damien Asman says, do anyone knows how to code in Ninja?
I absolutely do. So I have a couple of videos on my channel about Ninja. And if you have like something really specific, if there's a programming channel in the Futures Discord link is in the video description. So you can, for Ninja Trader programming, it's usually best that you have like a specific thing. Like if you can tell me specifically what you're trying to do, because usually what ends up happening is you'll have a really narrow question, like the thing that you're dealing with. And then I'll look at it and I'll be like, oh, actually what you probably should be doing is this. So, just show me what you're trying to do and I'll help you do it. Like I have the time to do that, and I want to help the community. Like that's my thing, and I get a big benefit out of it because then I get to see other people's strategies, and sometimes I can take that and use it. And I don't share everything that people tell me, so yeah.
Adeptic says, Seth, are you doing any live dollar trading or only sim?
No, it's going to be all sim. I don't think that my broker would have even allowed me to take trades in any of that. I think that they would have just canceled them all. So yeah, it's just for fun right now. Until the market liquidity comes back, I'm not going to be taking it live. I think it's going to be quite some, maybe even a few months before I take live trades.
Mr. Shine's Mystery Channel says, I'm only here for the accents.
The accent thing is, I'm so glad that I programmed that up. That's so much fun.
Gary Rich says, question Seth, what's the rabbit's future?
Well, the rabbit seems to be pretty content just to, being a rabbit, as far as I can tell. She doesn't look depressed or unhappy to me, but I think it's because she just doesn't know anything else.
RJ Wheels says the media is scaring the shit out of people.
It
It's
absolutely
their fault
is.
we can't buy toilet paper. Live Action says wow what a easy gift this am.
Right? Well, it would have been interesting. Like the thing that I want to know is if you took a live trade in the MES, how much slippage would you have gotten? If you had no position and you were just trying to go short on the open, slippage probably wouldn't matter, would it? It's going to be interesting. Who would be brave enough to buy ES right now? Yeah, for every buyer, there must be a seller. There are definitely some guys that are going to have to buy here at some point. Is the Dow going to bounce at 15K? I don't know. Well, tell you what. Well, let's see here. When's the exact time? When's the exact time? They haven't given me the exact time yet, but it's going to be around 7:45. So.
Adeptic says I still don't understand the TP shortage. Are there new recipes for TP all of a sudden?
I think that it's just a meme. Like, you know, somebody saw people buying a bunch of toilet paper at the store, and then they started talking about it on Facebook, and then everybody was concerned about getting toilet paper, and it just kind of builds from there. You're sorry, you're right. I touched my face, and I should be using this to rub my eye.
Live Action says this is also the time to trade the notes and bonds. We finally have volatility after months of doldrums.
I feel like that if I was trading the treasuries that I would have blown my account. The amount that the 10-year is moving. I mean, look at this trade. I have never been able to make $1,000 on a single trade in the treasury. So, and that thing went 16 ticks against me, you know. Can't really trade it. Anyways, but now it's not just toilet paper, it's like everything. So baby formula apparently is there. When I went to the Walmart, anything that was canned or you know, like pre-packaged meals, you know, like hamburger helper and stuff, I was thinking, hey, you know what would be nice is some tuna helper. I would really like some tuna. I've been making the hamburger. I really like the hamburger helper Italian cheesy shells. Oh, that's the good stuff. You know what? I know it sounds gross, but like when I'm trying to bulk up, hamburger helper is what does it for me. But they didn't have any of it out. Well, that whole aisle was just empty. The employees were cleaning the shelves. That's what they were doing because they had run out of inventory to put on the shelves. They were just washing down the shelves.
RJ Wheels says March Madness wasn't canceled. It's now called grocery shopping.
Well, they are still playing the games, right?
Luis Alarid says miss the March Madness. I wait a whole year for that.
Yeah. Every time that you know, one of the Utah teams are in that, it's like a huge deal to everybody here. China says, urges U.S. to immediately lift unilateral sanction on Iran, continued sanction against humanitarianism, and hampers Iran's epidemic response. Oh, HHS hacking? I haven't heard about that. If the S&P drops one more time, like it just did at the opening, it will have erased all of its gains since Trump's inauguration. Yeah, but it's a recession. You know what? Like, at this point, where it was at Trump's inauguration probably isn't terribly important anymore, is it?
Harlequin says, are any bigger funds, hedge funds broke so far? Any news about that?
I don't know. I haven't seen any. Well, we've heard that airlines are buying each other out, but not like foreign airlines. I haven't heard anything about local airlines.
Uzi Knesset says working retail was the funnest during crisis.
Okay, Rule 80B was triggered immediately. That means that trading will resume at 8:45:01 Central Time, according to the CME. Okay, 8:45. So we got about 2 minutes. About 2 minutes. And the next limit down in ESF is 23.39. The last swing low is 23.43. Well, I think that they're going to open lower and we're just going to take whatever they give us. When you wake up and see coronavirus 2 trending, what?
David Felkai says, were you reading that news flow?
Okay, so I have a Twitter list of traders and squawks that I read, and I follow that on TweetDeck, you can see. So the person that was tweeting that information was Futures Trader 71. I don't know where he gets that news from.
Adeptic says, where are you, Seth?
No,
Chicago?
I'm in Utah. I'm just in Utah.
Gary Rich says we have to close under 2,300 on S&P before it's bad.
Yeah,
Justin
well, that would
Carroll
trigger
says
the 13%.
I would imagine their support at the December 2018 lows approximately 2,350.
That's a really good.
Uzi Knesset says Oda.
That's probably a really good guess. The 13% halt. Then if we hit 20%, we're done for the day. Yes. There. I was just reading that out of the equity indexes channel on Discord. Okay.
Air Cages says if we mirror the drop from 2008, the ES would need to fall to 1,400.
Whoa, wait, really? Really? Oh, man. Because I was thinking, okay, like, we're like the 20%, right? So to get to 15%, to 50%, okay, here it goes. Okay. Wow. Okay. And got out of that. Doesn't even show it. My position window over here doesn't even show that the trade ever even happened. I don't know what to make of that. Hold on a second. Let me put this over here. Oh, now it shows it. I don't know why it didn't show it in this other one. Let's just do that. That made 2,700. I don't think that you would have actually have gotten that though. Okay, well the treasuries are moving up. 2363. What did I say the 13% was? 2339. Well, they're going. They're gunning. They look like maybe they're gunning for it, but okay. Good thing we have this one range chart over here. Had a little hiccup there. Okay. 2350.
Live Action says look at your S ladder, it's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Now there was a buy there. There's a bit of a bounce. It sure is crazy. The micros are just nuts, but look, they just not holding any liquidity anywhere. Everybody's just hitting each other with market orders. So you're getting crazy slippage on just about anything. Okay, there was some stuff at 23.75. I tell you what. That's when we did this last Monday, I think this is 10 times worse in terms of like how much it's moving and the amount of liquidity that's on there and everything. That's super crazy. Let's see if we can pull up that other chart again. Oh yeah, that's much nicer. So we can see there was actually a lot of contracts traded at 23.50 that held it. Everything just like sold right away. Let's minimize that so that we can still see the thing.
Air Cages says ES moving like CL on inventories.
Put you guys on read.
Live Action says flat all.
Go, go, go. Okay, so 2,400. 2450 was the 7% limit, right? So far this is behaving like the past ones have. We'll see if they're able to hold it and pull it back
Gary
up
Rich
above
says
that
I'm
level.
waiting for Europe to close. I will begin to sell 1 week VIX volatility calls.
Futures Trader 71 says extremely thin trading, please don't trade. Yeah, I agree. Just mess around on sim, it's fun. That, okay. A little bit of back and forth.
Live Action says scaled off too early but still turned out good.
Yes, nah, 2,400 is an interesting price. Rich is like long 100 NQ here. Okay. You know, it'll be interesting if they get back above the 2,450 and then like really start bouncing hard. That could be something else to see, but okay, the liquidity is coming back. It looks like
Live Action
they're
says
trying
long
to sell
S.
it here. They're trying to sell. There's some selling here. How can I do this? Let's open this up and just minimize it and put it right here where the economic releases are. Huh?
Live Action says stop below 2,400.
Oh, you know what else? We need to have the, where is it? Bar statistics. Yeah. I don't think we need all this stuff. I just want to see like, oops. Volume, delta, and cumulative delta. Ew, get rid of that yellow. That's gross. You just make that transparent because I don't really care about the coloring right now. Okay. 110K. So actually quite a decent amount of volume on the open so far. And definitely that 2,400 area. We don't have the
Gary Rich says last Monday's halt we never got close to the 13% second halt.
Yeah, we never got even close to it. Show as profile. And we'll do the show in balance too. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now that's easier to see. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. And will help us a little bit to kind of understand what's going on out from a higher perspective, because right now it's moving around so fast that
Air
it's
cages
really
says
hard
stop
to see
below
what's going on with the
1400.
DOM. Gonna go long, yes. Yeah. It looks like they wanted to test that 2400 a lot. Maybe a buy there does make sense. I'm noticing the treasuries seem to be at 138 again. They've just been moving around a lot. I don't know if you buy it here again or what. Okay, so I just got a long signal.
Live action says stopped and back in. Gary Rich says the standard deviation moves are just off the insane.
Okay. I think I can... Oh.
Air cages says the ace signal strikes again.
Yeah. Well, it was good for a little bit, but now look, they're pushing it. I think they're gonna come down for my...
Luis Alarid says coronavirus vaccine trial starts Monday.
Yeah, well, they were telling us that news yesterday. But remember that it takes like a year to go through trials, so it's probably not terribly pertinent to the current crisis. One contract. Not bad. Let's trail a stop, shall we? Right here.
Air cages says I've heard it doesn't need a trial. They're just gonna test it once and put it out there.
Let's do this at 30. Okay. 136. Are they gonna come back to this 50 area? Well, there's some light liquidity up in here. That makes me a little nervous.
Adeptic says if they fast track it, they could compress the trial down to 3 months.
Okay. It's still too late. 2450. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, there's definitely some pushback there. No, come back. I should have put that in faster. Could have been faster on the draw there, boys. All right, well, I'll just do it right there, okay?
Adeptic says I'm just a bit skeptical that a vaccine actually exists.
Oh, absolutely they can. It's just a coronavirus. It's actually very similar to SARS, my understanding. Oh, I guess I could have gotten the 2450 after all. Well, they're going for it, but look at the buying there at 20, in this area. So there's a lot more buying coming in. So there looks like there's some passive selling here.
Live action says 2 off leaving 1 runner. Gary Rich says they will fast-track the trials, but it will take months to get enough for the masses. COVID will be just like a flu shot every year required.
Probably. Well, they've been working on getting a vaccine that would handle all flus. And maybe they can use the same techniques on all coronaviruses. Carnival is taking steps to improve liquidity, including cutting investments and expenses and looking for additional financing. Okay, well. They're still duking it out in this area. The treasuries came back pretty significantly.
Air Cages says, is it possible to invent a cure for this thing? Not a vaccine.
Well, yeah, so if you watch there's like a Netflix series about pandemics, and they talk about these guys that are trying to make a vaccine that would be a vaccine for all flu, not something that you would have to redo every year. The only issue with it is that you have to do it a bunch of times right now.
RJ Wheels says Israel is ahead of curve on vaccine for this.
And so now they're working on a way to make it so that you only have to take it once. Because it's right now it's one where you take like 6 of them or something and like booster shots and stuff like that. Okay. So now they're pushing above 25.50. And a little, now they're going to try and retest it. Let's see. No. It's going to say previous resistance becomes support. No.
Live Action says this day is nuts,
right
3K on one contract.
They just right through it. Well, yeah, if you actually could have gotten any fills in here, I don't think that would let you take it.
Gary Rich says people complain about cruise industry getting a bailout. They got a bridge loan, not a bailout.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think anybody's gotten like a straight up bailout yet. I'm really surprised that they're not talking more seriously about the payroll tax cut. Like, how are small businesses gonna hold through this? I don't think that a bridge loan makes so much sense for them. They need a payroll tax cut, or people are gonna start getting laid off. First patient with coronavirus dies in Wales.
says, I'm no guinea pig for any shot. Don't even take the annual flu shot.
No. I take the flu shot. Be interesting to see how many people are willing to take the flu shot next year. After all this craziness.
RJ Wheels says, I've watched X-Files.
Okay. So a little bit of battling now between 24.30 and 40. Sellers winning. Oh, sellers winning that one really big. And gave us a short signal. I don't think that one triggered enough divergence for me to take.
Luis Alarid says, if they mandate the next big vaccine, problematic. Gary Rich says, you would think a payroll tax Dems would want. Dems are afraid that the payroll tax cut would become permanent.
Maybe. I don't think so. Because that goes into Social Security. I think everybody understands that. I think the real concern here is would I
Live
think that
Action says probably making a mistake flat all.
The reason to I think from the Republican perspective, one of the reasons why a payroll tax cut is attractive is it could become permanent, but then you kill Social Security. And that people decide that they would rather have the money
Gary
now
Rich
than
says
Social
the Dow
Security.
is only 1% down. Friday it went up 9%.
The Dow is only 1% down? How is that possible? The E-mini is just getting hammered here. I don't know. Maybe they pulled this out here around 30, but
Air Cages says so the UK has decided they're going to ignore the whole quarantine thing and just wait for this whole thing to blow over without doing anything.
They're not going to do anything? Well, they haven't hit a large enough number of cases yet, have
TradingView
they?
says 1% down, lol.
I haven't even seen them show up on the charts. When you look at the charts though, like there's a chart like number of days since there was 10 confirmed cases in a country, and then how quickly it goes up. And the United States' curve has been a lot less than the others.
10% sorry.
So 10%. Okay, that's a horse of a different color. My eye is having some issues here. I don't like this contact. No, I have Bitcoin up here. Let's reduce that and see if I can find any levels where there's actually some liquidity. Well, there's some liquidity down at 16, 2016, then 2405. Now they're just careening through them right now.
Gary Rich says 9% up on Friday, close 10% down equals overall 1% down.
There's a lot more liquidity at 2400 area though. Deutsche Bank to split teams globally amid virus crisis. FX Macro and one of those groups won't have a job when it's over. Ouch. Deutsche Bank is the one that everybody's been worried about. Just in, Google's coronavirus screening website is live but limited. The story on hill.com. Brokers amend trading conditions amid corona rattled markets. What you need to know. Let's see. Probably just increased margins, right? Yep. Increased margins for everybody. You get increased margins and you get increased margins. Oh, there they came down to that.
Uzi Knesset says Gary seeing the technical light at the end of the tunnel, face with tongue.
Kind of bounced a little bit though. You just stick that down there for fun. Oh, they bounced off of that 05 really hard. So we've developed a range between 2450 and 2400. Oh, you know what? Let's put our new toy on here while we're at it. I have a new toy. It is called... It's not going to do anything. It's not going to be very good. It is called... where is it? Oh, it's called autocorrelation periodogram.
Gary Rich says Deutsche Bank is one of those too big to fail banks. It won't be allowed to fail, just injected with massive liquidity.
Maybe. Maybe you're right. I'm calculating. Let's see what it does. Anyone have this problem that when they do well during the day, they get this kind of feel-good feeling and don't feel like trading anymore? It becomes hard to focus. Oh, yeah, totally. Well, sometimes it's good to just hit your target and then not trade it anymore. But it looks like Sticks and Hammer decided to venture outside of his house because he's looking at the grocery store and showing the empty shelves. And I'm like, yeah, that's the same picture everybody's been posting on Facebook.
Live Action says at Gary Rich, I
actually
just
just
signed
showed
up
me
to Discord,
something.
not really sure how it works, but linked in Seth's room, interest rates, right now. Do you know where to find the option books?
So I have one that is stocks and options. There's a room in there that's stocks and options. Under products.
Gary Rich says there is a list of like 200 banks which have been designated as too big to fail.
Oh, really?
They pose a systematic risk to the global economy.
David Felkai says there is ladder froze.
The ES ladder froze. Oh, well, it probably froze for a second because of that. If you're talking about mine. That autocorrelation periodogram probably is not useful.
Gary Rich says at live all PM messages you.
Because it's the way that it's showing. It's yeah. Now that's the way it's supposed to look. See that? But then it just turns into that. I don't know why it does that. Wonder if it would do it on like a 1 minute chart.
Germans are coming, says morning.
Hey, how are you? I don't know what's with my eye, did wrong with my eye, but I can feel like my contact is bothering me. Maybe I should go wash my hands and start.
Live Action says at Gary Rich, okie dokie, thanks.
Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of that. It's bothering me that it doesn't work. I think it's just because it's so fast that nothing's actually changing. It'll probably work better on like a 5-minute chart. Well, the treasuries overall have sold quite a bit. I would say we were up at like 1,000 at one point, and now we're back almost to where we got in on that original one. Well, I see a little bit of support here, though. You know, we should look at the CME Fed tool. Let's do that. CMEgroup.com. Markets, interest rates. Fed watch. And doesn't like that web browser, so I'm gonna have to use Chrome. I have like an eyelash in my eye. It's like driving me crazy, dude. It feels like I have an eyelash in my eye. I should just go fix it. Okay. I don't even think it's updated. Look, they're still saying, 0 to 25, 88.9%. That should be 100%. April. June. December.
Gary Rich says, lol, I'm designated as part of the Degenerate Gamblers Club in Discord. So funny.
Yes. You don't remember. I added you on that, but you're not in the same Degenerate Gambler group as everybody else. Oh, no, wait. Yes, I added you to that one too. So there's another Rich. And we gave him a special Degenerate Gambler that is magenta because he was complaining about that color. But you had been around enough that I thought, we can at least give him Degenerate Gambler. You've never shown me like a trade stats. If you show me his trade stats, then we can upgrade
Gary Rich
you to
says
elite.
It live sent a test message.
David Felkai says using Jest close I think for the props calc.
Yeah, you might be right, David. Maybe we need to wait until tomorrow to look at the CME tool because it just didn't quite look right to me. I'm noticing here that we're building some volume around 24.35, just a little bit lower than where we were up there. I don't know if that speaks for higher or lower or what, but the treasuries certainly seem to be getting creamed a little bit there. touch it, Seth. Use the Kleenex. My eyes just like itch like crazy right now. This eye feels like it's got like an eyelash in it, this one. But I think I'm just feeling the edge of my contact or something. Yeah, it's weird. Okay.
Da Germans are coming says amazing that a bat can cause this much damage.
I'm really surprised that China isn't doing more to be like, hey guys, don't eat bats. You know what? I'm gonna go and wash my hands and take care of this eye, okay?
David Felkai says I am sending you some Visin.
Live Action says at Gary Rich that's funny now that I am a member I'll be joining you soon. I am not sure where to go to find your test message.
Okay, well, it looks like they've built some volume now, but there is some liquidity on the DOM, but it's not too encouraging. The treasuries came down pretty aggressively there. I'm not sure. Not sure I understand why they fall like that, but EU Commission likely to propose temporary ban on non-essential travel to Schengen area for third country nationals. No clue where that is. Rush hour in Washington, D.C. Nobody out in the streets. Good. Sellers trying to push it down again. So I wonder if they break this bottom, like let's say that the sellers go to 2400 and bust the bottom of it. Just kind of spitballing here. Do the treasuries come back up, or is there something else going on in the treasury? I don't know. I think, though, for this treasury, I wanted to
Gary
swing
Rich
it. I
says
think I
it
want to
live
hold
in
it
one
for
of
a
the
couple of
rooms.
days.
Post a comment.
Yeah, you just post a comment in the lobby.
Germans are coming, says Seth. I know this is a reading related channel and great it is. However, question causes an effect. Why do you think this sell-off has been happening?
Well, I think the sell-off this morning is mostly sentiment-based. Sentiment-based, and I think that the lack of liquidity is also a huge reason. There's no liquidity in this market. And I really don't see the markets making a meaningful recovery until there's some liquidity. New lending facilities could overshadow Fed decisions on interest rates as markets anticipate a large rate cut. For Squawk, U.S. could start purchasing crude oil for strategic petroleum reserve in as soon as 2 weeks. U.S. could fill strategic petroleum reserve within months by purchasing 77 million barrels of U.S. produced crude. Energy Department source. 2 weeks. So they're going to let it drop until then? You know what? I have this thing here that's like show imbalance, but I have it diagonal, and because I have so many levels ticks together, it doesn't work that way. It really should be horizontal. That's stats. Yeah, there we go.
Germans are coming, says whose pockets has the liquidity gone to? As for every buyer, there's a seller just thinking.
I don't know. Well, I think that they just turned the robots off, or they switched them over to market only mode. Yeah. And I think that a lot of people lost the money and had to leave, and that's, you know. Mm-hmm. New Orleans police clear Bourbon Street. Oh, I heard that you guys talking about it. I didn't see the police just cleared him out, basically. Well, 2818 is kind of a slow trot down this time. It's not so dramatic, and the Treasury is still kind of selling down.
IDK says, is that ZN trade live?
No, that's not.
Live Action says at Gary Rich, okay, I am in interest rates room but don't know where to type in a message.
So you get a screen that looks something like this, and you need to type it down here. It'll say a message lobby or wherever it is. When you put a message in, then we can give you permissions to like post pictures and stuff.
Gary Rich says until the USA corona cases start to plateau and the world begin to slightly peak off, the markets will be volatile.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably going to continue to be volatile until like May, probably all through the rest of this month in April. I mean, there's a limit to how long volatility like this can go on, but there's going to be a point at which it's just going to go sideways, you know? It's just going to calm down and just kind of go sideways, and then maybe a little bit lower. Okay. Touching a buy zone. Not convinced. Let's see if it follows through or not. The treasuries certainly are selling down. At one point, that treasury was worth 3,000, but I was not looking at it when it was up there. And I said I want to hold it maybe until 130, 140 even, maybe. No joke. I don't know if that's wise or not. That's just kind of like my take.
David Felkai says every time I had that I start looking for my flight attendant.
Yeah, that was exactly why I picked it. I picked it because it sounded like when you call in the flight attendant. Okay, so that one did continue through a little bit. It's kind of hard to judge these with this volatility. Like, it could totally turn back down and fail again. If so, how many would you want to be looking for? I don't know.
Gary Rich says at Live in the Lobby Room I posted the last comment.
Yeah, Gary's name in Discord is Samurai M7. I think that's some sort of reference to him being a cyborg samurai of sorts. That's probably not what it is at all, but well, Treasury's turning back up a little bit again, but there's going to be some at 22 or so, probably some resistance. Well, they just want to jump right through it, huh? Hey, I'm cool with that. If we can stay above that. Like, my thing is I think that their treasuries should continue to push up, even though, if regardless of which way equities go. Probably equities go sideways, though. Oh, the White House cancels the Easter egg roll. I was looking forward to that. That's a big headline. Breaking, White House cancels Easter egg roll. Oh no, markets in turmoil after the White House cancels the Easter egg roll. Oh, things must be really bad, guys, if the White House is canceling its Easter events. Can you believe? Unprecedented. Unprecedented, folks. Canceling the Easter egg roll. I'm not like, I know I'm being facetious, but my gosh. It is a bad thing, isn't it? Hey, we made it back up to 24.40. Treasury is very much undecided here. So I don't know if they'll hold this or turn back up. Libya's national oil company says jet fuel was illegally shipped into eastern Libya recently in violation of UN sanctions. Okay. Hey, there you go. Yes, trying to hit that 24.50 again. I would say high or low. Looking for higher high, right? Wow. Record percentage of Americans says defense spending is about right, quote unquote. Interesting. I wonder if that's a poll number that we hear about more in the future. They're testing the downside. Didn't break it yet. Well, okay, let's pop up and test this other side. We're able to touch 47 pretty easily. Yeah, and through it pretty easily. So it sure looks like the momentum for the moment is to the upside. Okay, so there's above 50. So higher high now. Treasury's moving a little bit lower. Hmm. Not holding the 2450 area. See, the issue that I have now is like 2450 was the target, right? So like, does like I understand it's moving up, but does buying it here really make sense? So I don't think that you're likely to get a whole lot more up. Thousands leave Miami cruise without screening despite earlier passenger testing positive for COVID-19. Oh, that's awful. There are active discussions within the Trump administration to encourage a possible curfew across the nation in which non-essential businesses would have to close by a certain time each night. CNN reporting.
RJ Wheels says sell, sell, sell.
Sell that shit. That is a sell for me, man. I want to sell that. Right.
Justin Carroll says the sentiment with Corona reminds me of the sentiment right after 9/11. This isn't supposed to happen in America.
Man. Curfew is bad.
RJ Wheels says breaking news.
Breaking news. Well, I'm telling you, I feel like a lot of our culture in the United States has only been able to be what it is today because we ignored the risks of serious disease. Just to take, for example, having both parents work. If they close the school, how does that work out for you? I know some parents, I've seen some parents that are single parents on Facebook or whatever, are in a pretty tough situation now because their school has been canceled. What are they supposed to do? Well, if you have a parent home all the time anyways, then it's not such a big deal, right? So there's just a lot of these things. I think that you're going to have to see a cultural change in the United States. Oh, that don't look so good. Didn't do what I wanted it to. They're kind of doing the attorney stuff, though. Kind of doing the attorney stuff that they do when they're like building a position of sorts. So, like, if they come back down to 35 or so, I think I want to take that. This is an interesting story. In this coronavirus era, colleagues are set to glimpse a different side to their colleagues and clients as video calls via Zoom, Skype, Google Hangouts, and the like peer into their homes. Financial Times. Well, hey, you know what? I got not a bad setup, huh? They get to see this. It's cool. It's cool. It's all good. Oh, by the way, it's 8:30. Okay.
Germans are coming says, are you familiar with Cabal and the Q organization?
I mean, if you're talking about the Q, like the 4chan thing, then I am familiar. I'm hearing they're trying to make a comeback this week. They're like, oh, this is exactly what they said would happen. Ugh. Yeah, after like so many other predictions that they
Live
made
Action
a year
says
ago
it Gary Rich OKIM on the site. Very cool. I won't get in trouble using it, will I?
Nope, as long as you're not like sharing stuff at work that you shouldn't. Yeah, they're pushing down again in the treasuries. Like them E-minis, happy.
RJ Wheels says it's the Clintons' fault.
Well, this starts to get interesting now.
RJ Wheels says Q stuff kills me.
I mean, I find it really irks me when I see it on the Donald. And I'm like, why are you guys sharing this nonsense? Can't prove any of it. And it's not. It's nonsense. It's a fan fiction. It's a fan fiction where you try and say, oh, it's kind of, you know, there's these parallels to real life.
As long as you don't resell it. Just consume it for yourself.
Using what now again? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, so for Discord, I'm totally down with people promoting their things, just as long as you're not like outright spam, you know. Because we, especially the people for platforms, I mean, I don't do this for indicators.
Gary Rich says it live share with others.
Don't share other rooms in Discord. That's kind of the big no-no. Don't share other rooms.
RJ Wheels says if the Clintons were getting arrested, it would have happened.
But if you're doing, you know, platforms and brokers, I'm totally okay with. And even if you have indicators, I'm okay with you guys sharing the indicators and discussing it. As long as you're not spamming and keeping them to the right rooms. And being annoying, because if you're just annoying and it bothers people, then that's when I have to step in. We had to step in on Friday, and I was very disappointed. I was very disappointed, guys. Well, I did it at 21, so, you know, maybe should have taken some profits on that thing. I had a good trade, but I'm trying to swing it. And I thought, well, here's as good of a place to build up a position as any. Apparently, that's not true.
Live Action says it Gary Rich okay.
Apparently, there's still a little bit of room on the downside. But the question is, how high can this E-mini actually go? Because now they're going to... Are they going to go to 25, 60?
IDK says you gotta be Superman to trade the S today.
Oh, no. Okay, so 2560 was the 5%. 2500 was the 7%. So they are gunning for the 7% right now. That's what's going on. Coronavirus update. Philippines. There will be no trading at the Philippine Stock Exchange from Tuesday until further notice. Are they going to close the CME? This kind of brings us back to that whole thing. They're going to close the CME? That'd be ugly. I'm just trying to scare you guys because I want my treasury trade to go up. Donovan Mitchell on Good Morning America. Cool. It's funny. I was looking at the numbers here. It's like, you know, viewer numbers
Gary
gone
Rich
down
says
a
it
little
live
bit.
you'll save lots of money.
I think that they missing the real battle is just only starting. It look like they're gonna gun for that 25.
Germans are coming says had a feeling they will close the markets as the computers might catch the virus.
Well, at a certain point, it's kind of like, you know, just putting us out of our misery, right? Shut it down for a week or two. Okay, look at that big old bid show up there at 20.
Live Action says it Gary Rich wish we had this site when we were younger, just think of all the money we spent.
What do you mean, like in education and just trying to figure things out and stuff?
Gary Rich says I ordered the extra large body condom on Amazon. It said they were out of stock due to corona.
Wait, what? What? Body condom? What? Okay, some real selling is coming here into the E-mini, and there's a lot more imbalance on this. If it triggers the sell well, actually, we should. Cool. if it triggers the sell, it could really extend. Just seeing everything like, I might be getting overly excited here, but seeing like a really strong sell coming in here. The treasuries definitely are up about something.
Gary Rich says it live. I know. I recently lost a lot of my library in a small flood.
That's not good. Ouch. That's what I was looking for. So there they just touched it, but there's not enough. My other line's not trending down yet. They need to build some more volume down in here. Darn. It's a pretty fast pullback. Didn't follow through. Which also means the treasury's coming down a little bit here. Some stops. Some real stops. This move up is a little out of place. Just a little out of place.
Live Action says, wow, this S just keeps giving.
I suppose that there's the 24, the 2500 level and all, but just the way the volume came in there is a little odd. New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey are taking joint regional action to reduce the spread of COVID-19 effective at 8 p.m. tonight. Crowd capacity reduced to 50. Restaurants and bars will be takeout delivery only. Gyms are closed. Movie theaters are closed. And casinos are closed. Okay. So that's not necessarily good. It's probably not why they're moving up. Mnuchin's invited to speak to House GOP senators tomorrow at the weekly lunch per Lara Lietvan. Just so that people are clear, the Q2 drop is worse than the worst quarter of the financial crisis. And even if GDP bounces back in Q3, jobs and wages take much longer to return to that economy. Won't feel good in Q3, even if that bounce back is right. Yeah, but there's going to be, again, it's such a short-term impact, and the stimulus is going to be so heavy.
Gary Rich says, wow, spot VIX at 74.
They looking scared? Their treasuries are pumping back up again. There's a lot of turniness and choppiness in this. Yes, I don't think I can interpret it. But when this sort of thing happens, you got a higher probability of something big coming in, So again, on the downside, if the sell really came in on the downside, they would probably catch a lot of people off guard. The cumulative delta is positive 15,000. Treasuries are still just kind of rotating around 20. Tennessee man who stockpiled hand sanitizer donates 17,000 bottles ahead of investigation. Oh, you done goofed, bud. I hope they find your ass. See, the sell will kind of come in, but it doesn't get very far. Let's see. Maybe they tested again.
Raziel says, any news for this rally?
No, not that I can find. I'm kind of surprised. So there's another slightly lower low in the treasury. Which, given that the most populous area in the country is now essentially shutting down. Well, takeout delivery only for restaurants. Crowd capacity reduced to 50. Gyms closed. Movie theaters closed. Casinos closed. That's like complete shutdown. Dang. Ouch. So I don't really understand why the treasuries are doing what they're doing. It'll be interesting if this ends up being like a going
Gary
really
Rich
negative
says
for me.
spot VIX 74. Front 66, April 54, huge backwardation.
Huge. Oh, that's interesting. They don't think that it's going to be that high in April.
Live Action says, I heard one of the floor traders who's trading from home because floor is closed due to virus say he expected a bid after the likely second limit down.
Yes. They closed the few floors that they have, they closed. That's right. Well, I'm getting creamed here, folks. It is a pretty good bid going through in the E-mini. I just kind of, for no reason. You know what, though? Now that we're at 2,500, and if they get above 2,500, then I say we need to change the circuit breaker rules. Because it seems like the circuit breaker rule is being gamed in a way that is negative for the market, you know? Like if we didn't really have, well, okay, so there's another strong bid order came
Gary
in. They
Rich
hit him
says,
and
anyone
he
know
pulled.
of a VIX trader to follow?
Yeah, you know, there's that guy in the VIX room on Discord. What is his name? I don't know if he's posted in a while. Porter Bag Holderson. He gave us some good VIX trades, man. Here's 2,500. Stops. So let's tweet to the CME group.
Adeptic says, please continue with your CKT breaker rules being gamed thoughts. Justin Carroll says the circuit breakers were approximately minus 10%, minus 20%, minus 30% on the Dow in 2008 and we never even hit the first circuit breaker.
I think the problem is having the circuit breaker for the overnight being 5% and then the regular one being 7% gives them an incentive to try and sell it down on that. Because now that we're getting above that price, that says that whole thing down was nonsense. Now, we are going to get sellers are going to step in here. So, I don't know.
Justin Carroll says was overnight limit down -5% in 2008? Seems like I remember it being -3%, but I'm not sure.
I don't even know if they really... I didn't think that they had those kinds of circuit breakers. Well, the Treasury's coming back really aggressively now.
Justin Carroll says on the S.
David Felkay says feel like if I step away to eat something, it will be 27xx or 23xx by the time I get back. This is madness.
Right? Well, I can only go until 9:30 and then I gotta get to regular work. I get to stream for you guys a little bit longer because I don't have to drive. So that's cool. Did finally give us a short.
Adeptic says what is the future that you are getting the signals for?
It was the ES. It looks like they're going without me though. Dun, 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 dun. You know, like if I can get it right there, but too far away. So that sucks. Missed it. Should have been paying more attention to
Live
it.
Action says Seth, are you still with GS?
No. Well, I mean, I don't work for them. No. I haven't worked yet for them since 2016. I work for a healthcare exchange. So it's like a website that you can go and pick your Medicare plan and compare them against each other, that sort of a thing. Yeah, they're selling this pretty good. The sell is worse than the buy. If you get to 2437, that's a really good setup. Being fired by the Donald Trump is a badge of honor. It means you believe the truth, says Anthony Sacramucci. Says the dude who couldn't keep his job for 11 days and everyone around him resigned. Yeah. The mooch is crazy. He really is. Okay. Missed it again. Darn. You see that? I'll leave it there. Maybe they decide to come back up and say, oh, hey, look, Seth put an order there. Let's go back and get him and then stop him out. That'll be fun. Yeah, there we go. Okay, you got me, folks. Go do it. No? Hey, that's not bad. It's a little too short. That's interesting. You see in the stops. Well, that's no good. See, we really missed it. Probably want to be taking it off now. This happens to me. I've been trying to be like, oh, well, if it comes back to my spot, then maybe I take it then. It doesn't seem to work very well. Europe looking to suspend incoming travel from foreign nations. The White House is not at this time considering curbing domestic travel or ordering a curfew. The White House is asking governors today for certain things such as sharing information back and forth, but a curfew is not one of them, or a senior administration official. Very much trying to tamp down on this rumor that there's going to be a nationwide quarantine curfew thing. Okay. I don't know. That was too fast. It's now looks like it's turning into the chaos area. I'd feel bad about it. I feel like, oh, we should still be short, you know? We could short that. No, I don't think so. Yeah, they've got some decent. It's telling me to go long. How much? The total delta for the past 15 minutes is 1,500. Buyers coming in really strong again. Treasury's getting creamed. Treasury's getting creamed, but not. They're able to bid back up really easily. So here's where we get this. Yep. Oh, wow, this sell is really aggressive. What the heck? Oh, so aggressive. Are they gonna do it? I don't know. I don't know about that one. Okay. I don't know. So when I took that trade, I said, well, if they're going to turn into the chaos area, I'm going to try and take the range here, selling the top of the range. So I don't know if it's going to break out the bottom or not. If it breaks out the bottom, I'm going to be quite surprised that this sell is just coming in that strong and where it is and all that. I suppose that if I was a really big fund that really wanted to go short, that 2,500 is absolutely the edge of the area where I would want to do it. And there was enough trade up in that area that somebody could have gotten big time short. But yeah, see, look, now it's coming back up to the other side. So maybe I'm right. Maybe they're just in the range. No? Oh, that one got short-circuited. Oh, I need to come over here and pull up because the text-to-speech isn't working anymore. What is the frequency on your chart? Down in the lower right, it is one range. It's literally showing you every price change. I like Trump, but the Daily Show showed an ad where Trump starts off saying, "I have the best words," and then a montage of mispronunciations. It was funny. Yeah, I bet that was funny. He's not good at reading. As far as I can tell, he's not good. Germans are coming. Same rumor in Canada. Oh yeah. See, I got text message from my sister like, "Oh, my friend, he works for the government and he's getting," and I'm like, I don't think your friend actually does. But okay. Michael Green told a very scary story of what happened last week in the markets. He was on Hidden Forces YT channel. Yikes, a very smart man, that Mr. Green. I've never heard of him. R.G. Wilson's governor's call. Oh yeah, like the governors are making those decisions. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay, so now we're just in this tourney area again. So I think I already missed it. See if I could have taken above 90 and I could have taken it short, then maybe. What happened with your position in the bonds? I don't know, but I told myself I was going to hold it for a few days, so we'll just see. But there was a really, if we come back over to here, I mean, I can kind of see in the flow where it's coming down, but then I'm like, yeah, but I think in the long run, it's going to hold at some point. So look, here was where we took it. This is ZB, but down in the bottom. Oh, I make it big. Right, we bought it somewhere in here. There was a big overnight thing, and then there was this huge comeback. I don't know what was the deal with that. And then here, the open, and then since the open, they've been selling them. But I think that the longer term case for bonds is still long. So I don't know what to do with it, but it's an experimental swing trade. So if it turns out bad, it shouldn't hurt I know it will hurt my pride, but it shouldn't hurt my pride that much. It's just, because I don't know what I'm doing. It's an experiment. Definitely if the E-mini sells though again, then this is going to go up like crazy, right? On the other hand, maybe this morning was the worst of it. And all they do was buy equities from here on out, and everything will just be hunky-dory. I don't think anybody believes that, but hey, the market's always going to surprise us. Pride, when did you develop a taste for luck? I didn't. But when I make a bad trade, it still hurts my ego, man. I mean, yes, you can place yourself in the middle of volatility and make money if your stops are wide enough. Theoretical max, ZN 160, ZV 280, not that it will get there. How do you get that theoretical max? I really want to know. How do you get that theoretical max? I was thinking 140 in ZN. I was thinking 140 or more. Is that reasonable? Yeah. I think we'll go up to 140. I think that 137 is a good support area. Then we'll move higher. I'm kind of wondering though, if they're selling here, are they selling because they think that the worst of the volatility is over, or are they selling because they're not that confident in the Federal Reserve again? Look, it's doing it. It's doing it again. Treasury's up 8 ticks. Big sweep down in the E-mini. Donald Trump tweeted 2 minutes ago, everybody's so well unified and working so hard. It's a beautiful thing to see. They love our great country. We'll end up being stronger than ever before. Empire State Index indicates manufacturing sector plunged back into recession in March because of coronavirus. Some of our first solid March data. We are definitely in a recession now. That's for sure. I don't know what caused that flood of orders, but okay. Coupon 6% semi at 0 yield. Oh, really? I would like some, maybe if you could give me a more detailed write-up on how you would do that and how that calculation might be useful during, regular trading. So do I sit down and I look at the coupon, 6% semi, I don't know what that means. And then you say that it's going to go to 0 yield, then what would it be worth? So can I go in and I can say, okay, here's what I think the Federal Reserve is going to do at this meeting. And therefore, if the rates go to here, then that's what this bond is going to do. I've always wanted to price them. I've always wanted to have a better idea of pricing them out. I think that would help me so much. 87. This looks like it's turning into my trade. It's not quite there. It's like 24.40 is, I think that will get there. Of course, as soon as I click, stuff starts happening. That's funny. Okay. Oh, that's not right. Did it actually say long that time? That's that. I think there's a bug. I think I just discovered a bug because how could it possibly be saying long? This has to be below this. I guess it could be a long. Well, look at that. I just got screwed. Talk about a stop run. They seem to just be messing around with us here, like, yeah, I don't know. That trade obviously was bad, and since I'm not putting stops out, it's like way too fast. Filled 141 on the 10-year would be really hard to get above. That's like 3% yield. Yikes. Okay. Guy B, how to learn the order flow? Yeah, watch it for a really long time, man. And even then, you might still really suck. I don't know. That was a bullish run there. I think, though, that I just got caught on like a really bad. That was an interesting spot. I mean, that it went up and everything. I wonder. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, no. I should market sell this. Come on. Stop. Okay. Man, 92 would have been so much better. It's okay. Yeah, we worked it out. We worked it out. That was a really crazy shooting star. We're still kind of in the churny area though, so I don't know if that's really like starting to get tight. Ouch. Darn. 10-year will do wind sprints between 0.5 to 1 yield back and forth between those yields. Okay. So I guess what you're saying is that if I'm trying to take a swing here when I'm getting up to like 138, 139, I should be thinking about taking it off. They are toying with us, guys. I'm just getting swung around on the short side. If I buy it here. Yeah, thought so. Real stop run up here. But absorption, so I'm going to take it off. Wow. Where did our treasuries come to? Don't look so good. Okay, so for this one, I have to... Now there's a real stop on it. 25.18. So do they go and get 25.55? Well, if we go and get 25.55, then I'm going to sit back and I'm going to say you should have listened to yourself, Seth, because you said, hey, there's a really, because it happened on no liquidity, there's a good chance they could just plow right back through it. But over here on this side, my thinking was that it only makes sense to go long in the treasuries if the Federal Reserve cuts interest rates another 50 points. Like, how does that, you know what I mean? Take plus 1,000? Oh, are you talking, you went long, didn't you? Well, they're so close to 25.50 now. I've now, relatively speaking, I really see no reason why they shouldn't be able to go and get it, you know? On this trade, my original was at 137. I said, hey, maybe I should if it came down there, I would buy another one. Now it's looking like, trying to add up here was foolish. Okay, what's that? Again. Hard downturn. What the hell? I'm going to be really light on the sell side. We'll only add to it if it really goes back. I should say they do have a really good chance of. They really seem overextended here. Off the 23.50 low this morning, 25.22 is halfway back. That's interesting, John. That aside, just based on my kind of strategy, they look really overextended here. It'll be extremely difficult for them to just shoot up and push another high and get to 25.50 at the moment. They would have to base things out quite a bit first, because they're just too far. And if they come back down to like 25.07, which I think they could fall back down to really quickly, then you're going to trigger a whole cascade of things, won't you? Then maybe they do it towards the London close, you know? Could that be? Yeah, probably a lot of this trading has to do with London, though, huh? Well, the treasuries came back up there, though. I don't know. But they keep doing that. They come up there and then they stop right there. Yeah. They sure want to push it. But look, the treasuries are bidding up. This whole setup kind of has me nervous. See him trying to push it. That famous fib of 61.8 is 25.63. That 14 half offer is holding it. Well, some more stops, but look, that's not favorable. The way that they did that's not favorable. They're immediately coming back down, and if they come on 24, yeah, now it's down candle. Like, that's really negative. I suppose they could not care, but like, the order flow that I'm talking about is definitely something that could fail sometimes, but it's not. That was not a good break. there was they did the stop run, there was absorption on it, and they went lower. They did not get support on the other side. I read some notes on the CTAs. Wow, they have been taking in the gut, not good for them. Oh yeah, for a long time, in fact. Like back when they were, when was it? I forget the trade that was happening. Oh man. Interesting. So now I've seen 3 things in a row here that have failed on me short. So am I just seeing things crazy, or is this market just fighting me really hard? This is very curious. I don't know. Maybe it's not so curious. I mean, I'm wrong in the E-mini all the time, right? I'm wrong about the short-term action all the time, but that whole sequence of events just really surprises me. RJ says I'm a fib user. All roads lead to Rome. I'm not such a fan of Fibonacci numbers just because that kind of suggests that the markets are destined to go a certain place and that there's some natural locations where they should be doing stuff. And I just don't think that that's the case. I think that the vast majority of the action is random and can only be predicted on a moment-by-moment basis. Look at that. And this bar... They just look like so way overextended at the moment, but maybe the shorts were really that overdone and they're just getting squeezed, you know? Well, I have to take it off there now, right? Now that I took it long, it's going to come back down on us. Let's see, I tried to revenge trade bad. Bad Seth, bad. Bad boy. But this is the same thing it was before, right? Like, yeah, screw this. Screw this, Seth. I feel so dumb right now. Just hands off for a second. What the hell am I doing? Taking along in a really poor risk-reward location. Oh, my treasuries are up again. Hmm. 42 would have been a better price. Come on. Yeah. Now maybe he comes in. Eight minutes to... Oh, the European close is not in 8 minutes, is it? Because of the daylight savings time still, right? If the S&P already bottomed, this would be the shortest bear market in history, less than 4 weeks. Oh, yeah. That's why I said all roads said everyone finds the right. Okay, there's a lot of buying coming into stocks. If past repeats, we may bid much higher, perhaps a leg off in upside fractal balance break and go scratch for home. Well, I think that what you're gonna see here in this location is you're gonna see a lot of moves that shouldn't happen. I mean, that's just my conclusion after what just happened to me there, right? Is they're gonna move well beyond where they should have on the upside. And then if they decide to test lower, they'll move far beyond where they should on the downside too. Like the range looks like it's still expanding basically. Or like let's take a look at it on the ZN here, right? Hold on. Where's my thing? Where's my thingy? There it is. Come over here. Here's the chart on a 30-minute chart. There's definitely a range here in the treasury. It's going to be like expanding range in the treasury, right? Yes. Yes, not so clear. Here, think that we're going to say here's an area. Well, maybe here. But anyways, expanding range. Likely. Well, it looks like that sell didn't come in like I wanted. So I'm just kicking myself again. When the trend is long, and that's a blue, that hourly bar is still blue. Now the bottom of the hour could change. It's like when it happens, I get a little bit short and then it kind of falls apart. But the treasuries are bidding back up again. The treasuries look like they might be turning. So that's encouraging. With VIX at these levels, all the VAR models are getting blasted by added risk parameters getting triggered. The guy can make money on the position of Mars to Jupiter. My hands is off to him. Yeah, right. This all. We should keep in mind that this is all just shooting the ball. Like, it's just not reasonable for a retail trader to be trading this. We're all sim orders. And I'm kind of messing around with multiple orders and stuff. I don't know if this one justified minus to take 4 contracts on it, though. The one where I bought on 4 contracts did because it was a really good setup for busting some people's stops on the upside, but I definitely can see some support at like 25.42 that I'm not so sure is going to hold. And the volume is coming down a little bit. I mean, which as in like the volume is hitting lower prices now. So we could get the condition. It was like I saw it before when I said it was way overextended before it busted up through 52, 25.20. 25.20. So, well, they just barely touched it. And the treasury is annoying because if I see them up like 4 ticks, I'm like, oh, that's great. And then they come back and you're like, what the heck? Yeah, there's definitely some support here that if they don't hold could be ugly. Got 3 minutes to 9:30. Okay, so there it was right there. What is being traded right now? I'm gonna let out. Okay, so the thing that I'm placing orders on over here is the micro ES futures symbol MES. You can see here in the top of the window it says, oh, I'm sorry. I'm not even showing you guys the DOM. Right up here. MES. There's MES and ZN are the two that I have simulated positions in. I'm not trading this live. I would not recommend trading this market live. New York says may suspend elective surgery. Come on, if we have to go without sports, then nose and boob jobs should go too. Wait, what? Did I feel that? Ooh. Okay, cool. Now maybe we get this on the other side too. That would be great. Ooh, look at that. Not quite what I wanted. So I'll do that. So we're getting stop run. It's coming back up higher. That's okay. I want to see it bust this side. Yeah. So that was not okay. That one they had to go a little bit further to trigger the stops. It's interesting how clearly you can see them hit in ES though. All those masks and gloves and go should be saved. They're sucking and blowing if they are still doing electives. That's what. I mean, if you already have a surgery set up, I wouldn't. I don't know. Would it be a good idea to cancel any kind of a surgery that you didn't absolutely have to do? Because what if you get sick after it, right? You're kind of voluntarily putting yourself in the at-risk population. That's not necessarily a good idea. Okay, it's about time for me to start looking at the work. So like my hard cutoff is 9:45. Gary. Gary. I'd rather go on a cruise than be in an operating room. Cruises should use that now as their ad campaign. We're a more fun elective. I don't know, man. Look at the treasury still messing with my price. I might be crazy. Maybe not. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But whatever. Okay, so we're going to set this up to be 2-to-1 risk reward. I think I'm just going to leave this on. I really think there's a really good chance of a sell coming in here. Come on. Oh yeah, there we go. Now they can maybe go a bit. Thank you. This is going to be a pretty ugly fall. I guess maybe there could be some support at 2,500, but look at how fast it's falling. Wow. Wow, guys. Perfect. Oh, perfect. Okay. Cool. Jeez. Merciless. See, this is what I was expecting to come in the whole time. And I think that they're going to come out and take out this 2437, in fact. Do you see that? Are you still there, John? Do you see that? 2437? Sorry, not 2437. Yeah, well, about that. It's around there. Okay. Well, they did find some support at 2504. Heard if you put a couple of dabs of Neosporin by your nostrils, it will prevent the virus, but viruses aren't bacterial. That sounds ridiculous to me. Why would you do that? I don't think that that's good for your nose. I could be wrong. Well, you know what? I'm getting kind of boring. And it's almost time. Lots of people watched. Thank you all for coming in. Come back in tomorrow and I'll tell you how it all turned out. If I completely embarrass myself or not. So far, it seems to be going well, and I can still see some downside pressure. So, yeah, it's cute, but it's big, strong buys coming in now. I think that if I get to 28, you go short again.
Adeptic says, what's the frequency on your chart? 10 ticks? RJ Wheels says governor's call.
You can see it
Germans
right
are coming
here.
says same rumor in Canada where I'm from.
ES 0620.
Live Action says range. Here's the Daily Show's ad on Trump's best words.
Oh, we need to close this. It's gonna
Live Action says I like Trump.
A bunch of garbage that we've already read. Where did I just take that last order? Orders filled 28. Okay. Go, 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 go. Come on. Little volatile there. A little bit of back and forth. Hard rejection, maybe? No. No. Fact. Telling me maybe the gig is up. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I gotta go. So I will see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay profitable.